It's that time, guys. Let's go. I'm going to share with you guys the hidden thing that causes a person's success to plateau. Like the number one reason a person plateaus in their success. Maybe not the number one, but it's like one of the top reasons, okay? And it's if you've achieved some level of success, if you are in a state of struggle, this thing that I'm about to share with you guys is the number one killer of a person's level up. And what it has to do with is talk. You guys ever meet somebody that just talks about all the things that they're gonna do? They talk about the workout plan that they're gonna start. They talk about the business that they're gonna start. They talk about all this. They talk. And talking is the number one killer of success. Talking about the things that you're going to do. And I'm going to break that down in this video. I'm going to break down a simple shift that you can make, so that way that you're not just talking about your next level up, that you're actually leveling up, okay? So if you guys are new to the channel, Jeremiah Sullivan, and I was a quitter in life. I gave up on my dreams. I gave up on everything, and was drifting, went to a community college, dropped out after 2 semesters, joined the military, and then changed my entire life. Went from the bottom 1% to the top 1%. And today, I'm in the coaching space. I help people become their best selves. I help them achieve their goals. And let's just dive into today's topic, all right? So you guys can go into the link in my bio or the description and check out all my stuff. But the point is that the number one, like one of the top killers, I want to say number one, but one of the top killers of level up is this talking. So when I was at 20 years old, okay, I deployed to Iraq at 19 in August, and later that month I turned 20. 12 months later, I was still in Iraq. I turned 21 there. And I remember when you get off the birds and you start, I remember that when we first got to Iraq, they shuttled you into Kuwait. That was the first thing. You flew in, you stopped in Germany on your way from the United States, and then you went from Germany to Kuwait, and then you went from Kuwait into Iraq. And when you went in, they did those big combat landings. You guys, if you guys have served, you know what I'm talking about. And they came out of nowhere. They don't give you a heads up or tell you that this is going to happen, but the plane that you're in, it dives down and it shoots up, and then it comes down like that. They do this combat landing, and it's scary shit when you're like 20 years old, 19, 20 years old. I remember being in that plane, and they dove down, and when they take that plane and they nosedive, you like start lifting up out of your seat. And then when they cut up, you start getting pushed down into your seat, and the gravitational pull, and it's like it messes you up, man. And then it's loud in there. You're bumping into the guy next to you. You're trying not to like throw up. You're also trying not to act like a bitch because like you're scared and you're trying to hold that shit in. And it's those combat landings are like no joke, man. So you go down, you come up, and then they go down, do like a figure eight kind of. A partial figure eight, and then they land, they throw you in some buses, and they keep the blinds closed, and they shuttle you from the airport to the base that you're at. And so that was my experience, man. And like nobody's really saying shit the whole time. You don't know what to say. You don't know what to expect. And the people that are in charge, they're just trying to keep accountability and get you from point A to point B and get you in your duty assignment spot, to your base. So that was my first experience in Iraq, man. I was a nervous wreck, and as time went on, you kind of get your feet underneath you, and things aren't so nerve-wracking anymore, and sometimes they are. But the point is that during this deployment, I was there for 15 months, man, and things start getting pretty monotonous during that 15-month period. You're just doing the same shit over and over and over again. There's no Sunday days off. Like in America, we have all this time off, 9 to 5, right? And then you're gonna go home, and then Saturday you have some free time. You don't do any of that in Iraq. We didn't do any of that. We were on call 24/7, nonstop, and we try to create some sort of structure with our teams, but like it never really happened. So now you're just living in a hamster wheel, or it's like Groundhog's Day every single day, and you just do the same shit over and over and over again for 15 fucking months, guys. That shit was crazy. And so my point is that during that time period, there's a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and a lot of monotony. And a lot of the guys, when we were over there, they would start, what do people do when they're sitting around and there's just not a lot going on? Or maybe they're in a situation where, like, maybe your work is like this. You go to work and everybody's bitching about something, right? Especially if there's not a big thing ahead of them. Everybody's bitching about whatever the situation is. So we were doing that. We were always bitching and complaining when we were in Iraq. At least the teams that I was around, a lot of them were. And what I noticed is that people started bitching and complaining, but then just as they bitched and complained, they started talking about what they were going to do when they got out of Iraq, what they were going to do when they got back home, and this is where all the talking started happening. I noticed the same shit in Ranger School. During hard times, people will talk about all the things that they're going to do, when they don't have to commit to them in those moments. And so we were in Iraq and people were talking about, I'm going to get back and I'm going to apply for the Green Berets. I'm going to apply to become a Ranger. I'm going to go Delta Force, all this shit, Navy SEAL, or I'm going to get out of the military. I'm going to go build a business or whatever. They were just talking big game. And I remember being over there at 20 years old, listening to everybody talk. I was very nervous about talking about my goals and my dreams because I just didn't have the confidence. I knew that I was just getting to the point where I started to believe in myself and I got some wins in my life, basic training, AIT, so on and so forth. And so I wasn't really confident to talk about my goals. But for some people, they were, and I was like looking at them and I'm like, these guys are all going to do this crazy next level shit. I'm like, I'm just going to try to do a good job at what I'm doing today, this deployment and whatnot. But then about 7 months in, this guy came over to me. He was really excited one day, and he told me about the Army's Green to Gold program. Talking. Dude, we should do this. He got so excited, and I had made a decision that I was going to stay in the military, but I was going to change paths, and I was going to become a leader that made a difference in the military. So when he started talking about the Green to Gold program, I actually got excited. I was like, dude, this is a perfect fit for me. And so he was like, yeah, we should do it. And I said, let's do it. So I spoke the word finally. I will never forget that guy. This was a good guy, but what ended up happening is I ended up putting in my packet and he didn't. I went through the long process. It took me months to get this Green to Gold application in to go back to school, commission as an officer. And it took me almost a year to get the whole process finalized and everything. And the point is, guys, of this story is that the thing that I have noticed over the years is that the talkers are going to do exactly that. They're going to talk. And what happens in a person's life, one of the biggest things that sabotages a person's success, when you start talking about the things you're going to do, you start getting a little like dopamine hit in your mind for the work that you haven't done. So you start getting rewarded for talking about nothing, about inaction. So it feels good to talk about what you have going on or what's ahead of you, but you haven't done any action, you haven't done anything to prove that you're actually about it. So you're rewarding yourself by talking. This is why the talkers are addicted to talking. Now, the simple shift that every single one of you guys can make, I believe you should speak about your goals, but more importantly, I believe you should act in alignment with your goals. If you want to build confidence with your goals, take the same process, the talking process, and talk about your results. Stop talking about the things you're going to do. Instead, talk about the things that you've done. When you talk about things that you've done and you talk about your results, you're going to get the same dopamine hit for talking about the work that got done, which means now you're going to be a person that gets the job done, a person that says what he's going to do and does it. By speaking about your results, you'll affirm and create an identity of somebody that is disciplined, consistent, and takes action. And that's the type of person that actually sees the goal through, not the person that talks all about it and never follows through. We all hate that. We all have been that person in one way or another as well. So my shift for you guys, the mindset shift, is let's stop talking about the goals that we're going to do. Let's start talking about what we've gotten done. Today, in this video, what I got done is I did a badass video for you guys, and that was fire shit. So let's not talk about it, be about it. Simple mindset shift that you guys can make is speak about your results, not what you're about to do. Conquer all.